Hey guys, Mike Rattle here with another video, and today we're going to go over my top 5 favorite Lightroom tips. The first one on the list is the crop grid overlays. Let's jump over to the computer and check it out. So if you go over here to the crop overlay tool and click on it, the default is the rule of thirds, if you can see this grid line here. If you don't see the grid lines, come down here to the tool overlay and just make sure that's selected to always. Now one really cool tool that Lightroom has is there's different compositional options. So if you hit the O key, you'll see that the overlay changes into different types of composition options. And it even has the golden ratio in here. So after the fact, if you find out, like in this picture right here, I kind of, for the golden ratio, I kind of misplaced the flower. So after the fact, you can just tweak it just a little bit just to get that flower a little closer. And you're done. Super helpful. Tip number 2, setting your black and white points. Now, setting your black and white points can work with black and white photos or colored photos. It just so happens that the example that I'm using here is a black and white photo. So what you want to do here is over here in the basic panel, you want to hold down the option key, and if you click and drag the whites, you'll see that everything goes dark. And right now you can see there's some white points here, and what that's representing is all the areas that are starting to clip. So if you just back that off a little bit until you see no more white, that should be about where your whites can be before everything is blown out. And same thing for the blacks. Hold down the option key and click on the black slider and slide it around, and you can see everything that's in black. You can see more and more detail coming in. That's everything that's getting clipped in the blacks. So you just bump this up a little bit until they don't all have to be gone, but until it looks about close. And you're done. That's setting your black points. Tip number 3, brush auto mask tool. So the brush auto mask tool is a super powerful tool. I use it all the time. And let's say, for instance, we want to affect this flower, this purple flower right here, and only that purple flower. Well, to go in here with the brush tool and try to color all that in, you're gonna get some spillage around the edges. Well, what the auto mask tool helps you do is to select by color or luminance. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our brush tool, and we're going to make sure that auto mask is checked on. And now what you can do is, as long as you keep the crosshairs inside the color that you're working with, that's all that's going to set. That's all that's going to be selected. So we just brush around here, and if you notice, none of your brush is spilling over. And if you can't see this red overlay right now, come down to show selected mask overlay and check mark that, and then you'll be able to see where you're painting. But I typically like to I'll just go around the whole flower and color in all around the edges. And then what I like to do is, once I get all my edges figured out, I'll uncheck auto mask and then go in and fill everything else in. Reason for that is the auto mask tool is very powerful, and this is a very easy example, but I've noticed sometimes in the past that it'll get confused and it won't select everything. Like right here, you can kind of see where it didn't select an area right there. If you're not careful, you won't capture everything. So I use that tool for around the edges, and it works out great for instances like this. Tip number 4, brush range mask. This is another super powerful tool, and I use this on very specific applications, and I believe it's pretty new with the Lightroom CC version. So what I want to do here is I want to affect just the orange leaves back here, and I want to make them pop a little bit. Well, Lightroom gives you more control over what you're going to select. So if you go into your brush tool, and we're already in there, what you're going to do is you're just going to simply start painting. and you're going to paint roughly the area that you want to select don't worry about being too exact. And let's see here. Oops. Okay, so that's pretty close for the demonstration. Now, where this tool, now what you want to do is you want to come down to the range mask, and right now it's set to off. We want to set that to color. In this instance, you can use luminance, but we're going to set color. And just like the white balance picker, you can click on the eyedropper tool and come up here and select a color that you want to affect. Now if you notice, the mask that we just painted just refined by a lot, and now you're only affecting these orange leaves, and you can adjust the amount down here by how much it's going to affect. If you see, you turn it all the way up, you can see more of my mistake over here, whereas if you turn it down farther, it's more refined to the specific colors that you selected. So I'm going to go right about there. We can turn the overlay back off, and now all my adjustments that I do here only affect those orange leaves that I had selected. That looks pretty. Make a couple quick adjustments here. Maybe make them a little darker. But you can see by this little demonstration here that how powerful this tool can really be. Like I said, you can also use it for luminance, which is also very powerful. Tip number 5 is the before preview. The last tool I have to show you is a very simple one. It's the before preview. All you do is you hit the backspace key on your keyboard, and you can see where you started. And if you hit it again, you can toggle back to where you ended. It's a very easy method to see if you've overcooked your image. So those are my top 5 favorite Lightroom tips. If you want to check out more, I left a link down in the description of 15 of my favorite Lightroom tips. So make sure you check that out and give this video a like. Hit subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Later!